Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner and welcome to my kids review wrap up for the month of July. So I was sent some lovely books by Alan and Unwin, so thank you very much to them. I do have one more book that I have not gotten to that is going onto my August TBR and I'll talk about that in that particular video. We're going to start off with a really gorgeous picture book by Sophie Cunningham and illustrated by Anil Tortop. This is Mango and Hopscotch, the inspiring story of a brave kangaroo and her joey rescued from floodwaters. Now, Sophie Cunningham and Anil Tortop have done a couple of books in this series. The previous two have been based on particular animals that have been affected by natural disasters. In this case of Mango and Hopscotch, I don't believe that it's based on any particular animals, but more the collective stories of kangaroos and other wildlife rescued during floods in Australia. And so it's kind of a bit more of a general story, which is still really nice because I think it does really pick up on all of the incredible work that does go into protecting and trying to keep our wildlife safe, especially during those really difficult times like natural disasters. So on the back there are some actual kangaroos. So Mango is the mother kangaroo, Hopscotch is her joey, and it starts off with them living their life amongst their mob and just really having a great time until floodwaters come and then they're forced to flee. And kangaroos are actually pretty good swimmers, so they're able to kind of start swimming their way out of safety to try and get to higher ground, and they're helped along the way by some humans who catch sight of them and pull them into a boat and help get them the rest of the way, because swimming is hard work. It's a really great story of the resilience of animals, but also the importance that we have as people who live in and amongst wildlife to also keep them safe during natural disasters, which I think is an important message for kids, that we can be compassionate and mindful because they're just as affected, if not more so, than we are. Then there is a new junior fiction series by Justin Somper. This is called Pirate Academy. This is New Kid on Deck. It's the first book in the series and it follows a group of children who are at a pirate academy. They all come from distinguished pirate lineages and their teachers are all very famous pirate captains. And in this world, being a pirate is a pretty normal thing. And then a new student turns up at the school and things change pretty quickly, and suddenly they realize that there is a threat to the pirate way of life. So we're following the Barracuda class of students, so they're all roughly about the same age, and they have to work together to fight off this new group that are coming in that are trying to take away what they believe to be the true pirate way. It was a fun little adventure and it does look at friendships and how friendships change when a new person turns up and how that can affect the dynamics of a group, while also looking at and questioning everything that you thought to be true about your way of life. Another middle fiction book and the fourth book in a series is Wylah Book 4 by Jordan Gould and Richard Pritchard. This is Champions. And I will admit, it took me a hot minute at the start of the book to remember what had happened to the previous books. I'm like, hang on a second, I've forgotten a little bit of book 3, but once I got past that, I was all good. So Wylah is a middle fiction fantasy story that is based off of Indigenous culture, Australian Indigenous culture. And 4 books in, kind of talking about what's happened and where we are and what's going on is a little bit of a spoiler, but essentially Wylah and her people have been threatened by outsiders. So it's a very colonization story with Wylah and her friends fighting back and trying to preserve their people's way of life and their traditions and their stories. In the first book, Wylah has to take on the mantle of the Koori warrior, and she has collected a bunch of allies as well as a bunch of guardians who are representative of different Koori legends and who are there to help Wylah. And also in this book, we are introduced to some new allies, all from different Indigenous cultures. So we have a Maori representative, we have Indian representation, and I want to say Samoan might have been the other one. And that was really cool as well to see that woven in and to see how those cultures are similar but different but still connected and how they all work together. So it was a really, really great read. It's illustrated through the book as well. So it's a really great one for kids who are getting into fantasy stories. This is by far the longest of the Wylah stories, which I suspect might make it a little bit, well, depending on the reader, might make it a little bit more intimidating because the other books are about half the size. But it was a really great book and our main characters are in a competition where they are trying to stand up to their oppressors, and it's a bit of a fight. It involves teamwork and then it also involves trust at the end when they're all forced to face one another as rivals. So I really enjoyed that. And then last but not least, Alan and Unwin sent me The Setup Girl by Sasha. Now they actually sent me 2 copies of this. I got this one at the start of the month, which is the one that I read, and I'm actually kind of glad that they did send me 2 because I wasn't sure whether I would be keeping a copy of it, and I am, which means I can give the second copy to one of my friends who has a teenage daughter. But they also sent me a second package, which is kind of like their little PR package. It comes with a note from Alan and Unwin, and it has my name on it, which is lovely. And I did have a sneak peek, so I have kind of unwrapped it, but I'll unwrap it for you again. It says, "The road to love rarely runs straight," which is awesome because this book is a queer YA contemporary story. I'm going to tear off that sticker and keep it and put it somewhere because that's a great quote. When you unwrap it, these are all the little goodies inside. So there is a sticker that says, "Hello, I'm reading, leave me alone," which again, Alan and Unwin, how did you know that this is my personality? There are some really fun little pastel page flags, always useful for me. There's a little promo card, and then it has the book club pics because there is a book club featured in this book that I'll mention in a moment. And it has the sticker, and also our main character is bisexual, so the little bisexual flag on there. There is a bookmark for the book, and then another copy of the book. So let's talk about it. This is the story of Amalia, who is in high school, and she and her best friend, I think it's their last year of high school or close to their last year of high school, and they're not the kids that go out and party and sneak out. Amalia's family is Eastern European, I think, originally from Slovenia. You know, they prioritize the studies and not dating and just kind of doing what you need to do to get through your schooling. Amalia is quite happy with that. Like, she's not one who's trying to go out and party until her best friend May attracts the attention of the guy that Amalia also likes. And then Amalia, even though she is disappointed, is like, okay, well, she's my best friend, I'm gonna help her win this guy over. And so she spends, that's the whole premise, she's the setup girl. She's trying to help her best friend land the boyfriend that she really wants. And along the way, Amalia finds herself making friends with a group of new people who she's never really considered. There is Kasun, who is the guy that she has the crush on, and that May also has the crush on, Kasun's best friend Jack, and also Laylee, who is the best friend of both Jack and Kasun. It all gets messy. It's very teen drama in terms of relationship dynamics. We find out that Amalia is bisexual, and in this book, she is tentatively exploring potentially a relationship with Laylee, but also she begins to fall for Jack. And Jack, honestly, is one of my favorite characters in the whole book. He's absolutely precious. He is a jokester, but he's also got a heart of gold, and you can tell through all of the interactions that he has with Amalia that even though occasionally he says something stupid, like he generally wants to know when he's done something wrong because he wants to be able to make it right and he wants to learn from it. And the whole thing is great. He is completely accepting of her being bisexual, but he is also trying to help her out because he thinks that she wants to date Laylee, his best friend. And I like the parallel of that in the story. It is super charming. It is very funny. And I actually got a little bit emotional towards the end of the book as well because I just felt so much for these characters. It's been a while since a YA contemporary book hit me in the feels, and this 100% did it. So thank you to Ellen Unwin for sending this one to me. I didn't request it, but I'm really glad that I read it. And I love this cover. It's been designed, or the illustrations were done by Daniel Gray Barnett, who I know from their picture book work. But I love all the little details on here and all the little Polaroids and the photos of all the things that happen in the story. It's just very, very cool. So thanks again to Alan Unwin for all of these books. They're great. I had a really wonderful time reading them. And I've obviously found a new favourite YA contemporary for the year, which that was not on my bingo card, but has clearly happened. I will leave all of these books listed down below in the description. In the comments, I'd love to know, have you heard of these books? Are you planning on picking any of them up? Or have you read any really great kids releases lately? Feel free to let me know down below. If you just want to let me know that you're here but you don't want to leave a comment, feel free to leave a heart or a star emoji to let me know that you're here. Otherwise, I hope that wherever you're on the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.